Welcome back to another episode of Elephant Den. It's Ashley.
And Alex.
And on this episode, we're going to be talking about a film that came out in 2014, directed by Dan Gilroy. He also wrote the screenplay.
Yes, he did. He sure did.
What's it called?
Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal, starring Jake Gyllenhaal.
So you watched it when it came out?
I went to the movies alone to watch this.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay.
During school.
I remember watching this film and learning about how the media production works. And so when I saw this, I was like, is this how it actually goes? Like, they buy footage from people?
Freelancers? I had no idea that it would be freelancers, but it all makes sense, right? The first to get on a scene and how they would go about knowing that information of where to go.
Lou Bloom, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, resides in Los Angeles. He is an outcast, surviving by scavenging metal and petty theft. He stumbles across the profession of night crawling, where he begins to nocturnally hunt the city for the perfect shot of the most grisly crime. We follow him on his journey, building his reputation and means of running a successful TV news business, doing whatever it takes along the way.
After watching the film, we know it's a success story.
You know, it reminds me of Talented Mr. Ripley, where it's an anti-hero. We described him, and many would describe him as a sociopath.
Yeah, exactly. Lacks empathy and he's very
and
callous.
More specifically, he's a narcissist. We're watching his success,
journey,
his rise to success, and there is no fall in the end. He really does get away with everything, and he succeeds.
So I want to get right into it with a question that I have for you, Alex, is because this movie is following the journey of a sociopath, do you think that Nightcrawler could be considered a dangerous film? And what I mean with dangerous is the ability to inspire others.
It immediately reminds me of someone like the true person, Jeffrey Dahmer, right? He was the notorious serial killer in the United States, and he was obsessed with the third Exorcist movie, and he was even playing it for one of his victims.
Wow, I didn't know that.
He always had it on in the background. Now that's more, paranormal things and communicating with the devil kind of thing. But I understand that question of like, could this kind of movie be inspiring? And I think to a person like that, oh, for sure. I was even inspired. I'll never forget that feeling of leaving the theater. The movie leaves you feeling uplifted, and down to the score that they use.
Yeah.
The score is built to be in the perspective of this character, Lou Bloom, the sociopath, to where it's not a dark score. It's very uplifting. It's inspirational.
Got, like, hope and...
Yeah, and it's kind of
and
rock.
movement in it.
It's always in his perspective, like that scene where he's moving the body to get a better shot of it.
Yeah, that was so
The
cringe.
music is uplifting, and it's reflecting that feeling of that high he's getting of how great this moment is on camera, right?
Yeah, it's that combination of epic and something that's potentially beautiful, but then it's contrasted with that, because in that moment for me, I was like, I had my hands over my mouth being like, oh my God, like to move a body.
Again, we're talking about a kind of job which is out there, and whether we need this kind of job, like even paparazzi, I don't know, but definitely the world consumes it. And people who end up working those jobs, it takes a certain kind of person, to be able to put a camera in someone's face.
While they're dying,
or even
like their most vulnerable state
or even a celebrity just trying to go to the grocery store.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You could despise that kind of work. Is it maybe crossing that line of being too much? I think it's just more, if anything, insightful to how these people think.
Yeah, definitely. But I also think it has potential to inspire people. Obviously, for a majority of the people watching this, it's a really cool perspective into a sociopath's way of life or thinking, right? It's like us being drawn to crimes and thrillers and murder mystery type of TV and movies. And so, like, in a sense, I do appreciate it for that, but there is this scary quality to it that can inspire these sociopathic people that live amongst us, where it's like you could learn that you can cross the line without crossing the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what I mean with that whole crossing the line is going past what's morally right and lawfully right, you know?
He knows what lines he can't cross and how
Because he's
the
so
law
intelligent.
is laid out, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that's why it's scary, because you have somebody like this who has no empathy and like only thinks about himself in this world. Yet he's getting away with it,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
he-
And so it kind of allows for that permission for other people, sociopaths possibly, to be able to live a life like that where they could get away with these things.
Yeah, I see. That's
But,
the
like,
last
obviously a
part
small
I kind of
percentage.
disagree with, because those people already have those qualities. Yes, he's this guy who is exploiting this particular, you know, service, and yes, it's his lack of empathy for people, and the way he uses people, which lets him get there. I have a morbid curiosity to, like you mentioned, true crime and mystery, but I don't know how often that kind of content is gonna make a person cross into committing
Yeah.
crime. Maybe your question pertains more to someone who's already on the edge, right? And they could get inspiration from this.
It's almost...
But I think a lot needs to happen on their part for even it to be possible. They need to be capable of that kind of danger already.
Yeah.
This movie isn't going to necessarily teach
No.
someone or give permission to someone.
I'm just saying gives permission in the sense of like a person who has these internal thoughts understand that they're not alone, that there's other people like that. And look, here's a success story of that. And that's all I mean.
Yeah, I think that ends up being a small percentage, but definitely that's what makes the question interesting in the first place. Is there are those instances of a real life killer or someone being inspired by a fictional character, right?
Well, it's also, this ties to the question of like whether or not video games are allowing more violence in this world as well, right? It's not going to make a normal person into a sociopath, but there is that scary thought that it could bring out the sociopath in a person.
You know, that being the case, I don't think that's enough to dismiss or not allow these kinds of films.
Oh, definitely.
Again, it's art. You know, it could be, there's violent paintings out there, which you could make the same argument for, right?
No, exactly.
But I know this is more of a character study, so that's not exactly true what I just said. And like, you know, we are witnessing an arc, but it's like more like a linear upward trajectory for
We're
this
not watching
character.
the downfall of it.
Yeah, which you're almost waiting for.
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
also kind of the other surprising catch of the film is how it ends. You know, it's introduces this detective midway through that's kind of on his case, and in the end, he just very swiftly kind of confidently shuts her down, and he knows he's acted within, or that he's constructed it to where he'll get away with it.
What inspires me in this film is his intelligence. I think that's more what I grabbed as inspiration, is the
Me
fact
too.
that like he was so smart to be able to back up everything with facts.
A friend is a gift you give yourself.
Let's talk about Jake Gyllenhaal
Yeah.
and his acting and performance. I think a lot of the film was on his shoulders.
Absolutely.
And I think the reason this film was a great watch and successful is because of his performance.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal was there from very early stages of the film being made. I don't know if the director, Dan Gilroy, wrote it for Jake, but Jake was there when they were looking at auditions for other actors, and so he was there pre-production.
Oh, interesting.
Gyllenhaal is that kind of actor where he really takes it seriously to like even the physical transformation and the preparation he needs for it. And this character has a very specific way of talking.
Yeah, which I like the choices he made, because I feel like I know someone in my life who does talk and act that way. But it's that eyes and the not blinking. I think he did a really good job.
I don't
with
know
that.
if he blinked.
Yeah, did he blink the entire
I don't
film?
know. Maybe just a handful of times, but now that you mention that, I really don't think he did much. And yes, he lost a lot of weight, so he became this gaunt, kind of coyote. And I think that goes so well with, you know, it being a film in Los Angeles, and occasionally they do see these really skinny scavengers, these coyotes roaming the streets, and that's essentially what he is. He's looming the streets at night like a predator.
A Nightcrawler.
The way he talked was so specific and, we say, intelligent and well-spoken.
He speaks in a flat line, though, which also goes to show you somebody who kind of lacks empathy.
Yes.
You know?
And then very occasionally it goes up.
Like, if you,
Where he's getting
his
frustrated.
tone is pretty impressive. What really helped, not only with his acting, was the writing. I think the writing was phenomenal in this film. Like, there's some clever lines in there, specifically the one line where...
Oh, that really stuck to you?
Yeah, it really stuck to me, where he says, a friend is a gift that you give yourself. And it goes to show you, with just that line, how sociopathic this guy is, or like how narcissistic that is, you know, because they believe the world revolves around them, and that's how they see the world. And so to believe that a friend is a gift that you give yourself, it's just to see it in that way, to hear that, it's just like, whoa, I've never
heard it
thought
that
of
way.
A friend like that, you know? And so, like, it's just, there was some clever lines in there that I loved, that I think it really helped Jake Gyllenhaal, for sure.
Oh, yeah, and you could tell he studied those lines. You know, and Jake Gyllenhaal's a huge star, right? He's been around since he was young. You could almost say child star. You don't see him in this.
No.
It's really this character, Lou,
that he gets lost in.
Yeah, and you're in there too. And you know, I love these kinds of films. It would make a good back-to-back watch with like Drive, where it's like it has that synth soundtrack. It's driving nighttime in the downtown streets of Los Angeles. Or Collateral with Tom Cruise, Jamie Foxx. That's also another film. I'd put this in that kind of playlist, just for like people
The night playlist. Once again, thank you so much for watching. As always, we appreciate your views, likes, and comments. If you're new to our channel and you liked this video, please click on the subscribe button down below and check out all the other videos we have on our channel. We love to talk about movies. For more updates and more information about us, we have an Instagram page called @AshleyandAlex. And we also have Letterboxd, which is...
Letterboxd, it's not a sponsor, but we love using this app. It's a way to organize your movie watching experience. Whether you're a new fan of film or you have years of films that you've seen and you want to keep track of those, it's a great way to organize films you have rated, films you want to put on a watch list for the future. You could communicate with other people on the app to their opinions and critiques on film. You know, there's threads of discussions. It's really informative.
Yeah, it's a great community for movie lovers. So check us out on there. Wonderful.
Thank you
so
so much.
You're awesome.